Assalamu alaikum, namaste, सत श्री अकाल and welcome to the Tonight Show. बिल्कुल Tonight Show आज ट्यूसडे का दिन है तो of course सादिया काजी आपके सामने है आपका प्रोग्राम लेके। उम्मीद करती हूँ आप सब बिल्कुल ठीक ठाक होंगे। मैं ठीक ठाक हूँ। मौसम थोड़ा सा ख़राब हो रहा है, थोड़ा सा ठंड हो रही है, बारिश हो रही है। Oh my God, I hope it gets better. But आज शो पे हमारे पास एक बहुत ज़बरदस्त गेस्ट हैं। हमेशा की तरह एक गेस्ट हैं और ज़बरदस्त भी हैं। ये भी आपको पता है कि हमारे गेस्ट बहुत अच्छे होते हैं। आज शो पर जो हमारे साथ खातून तशरीफ़ रखती हैं, शी इज़ एन कॉन्सर्ट पियानिस्ट, शी इज़ ऑल्सो ए इवेंट्स ऑर्गेनाइज़र एंड CEO of Creative Women. So देख लें कि इतना कुछ, इतनी सारी चीज़ें। Oh my God. Let's introduce you to Olga Belakids. Hi Olga.
Very nice to be here in the studio for Venus TV program.
Thank you very much for coming along. Absolute pleasure to have you here. And there are so many things you do, and I'm so intrigued by your music, first of all, because you are a concert pianist. Is this something that you started at a very young age?
Absolutely. All concert musicians start when they're very young. It was not an exception for myself.
Yeah.
My mother being a pianist and music teacher, piano teacher.
So it runs in the family, right?
Absolutely. She started with me when I was, I think, between 4 and 5. I don't remember exactly. And I certainly started performing, not only learning to play piano, but already performing when I was quite young. I know that by the age of 6, I was already performing in front of at least several hundreds of people. I was born in the south of Russia, and this is where obviously my studies and my performances started, and then of course life moved on.
Of course, that's where you shared your inhibitions about stage fright and things like that, because you're performing at such a young age. You're familiar with being in front of an audience, so I guess that's something that becomes, you know, a part of your life.
Definitely. At that young age, I did not have any fright stage at all. It was really, really amusing for the family, for our friends. I must say that certain changes were happening when you were growing older.
Yeah.
But certainly starting at this young age, performing in front of so many people gave lots of confidence and strength in many things I developed later in my life.
Yeah, and do you have to have special fingers to be a pianist?
It's very helpful when you have long and thin fingers,
That's
and my fingers considered to be long and thin.
Yeah.
I could never have a manicure, as you can imagine.
And you can't have long nails, I guess.
No, you cannot.
Yeah.
This is one of the disadvantages. But otherwise, of course, it is a beautiful thing to have in your life when you've learned to play an instrument on a high level, and when you're able to give a pleasure with your performances to many people.
And you've played in orchestra, obviously, and what kind of, where have you actually played?
I played in many countries, I played in many stages. I played as a soloist, giving piano recitals when it would be just myself performing. I was performing also in chamber groups with other instruments. I was accompanying singers and star singers, opera singers, accompanying them on the piano. I played as a soloist, piano soloist, with a big orchestra, not as a member of the orchestra, but as a soloist, playing piano concerto written for a piano and orchestra, for the orchestra to accompany the piano solo part. I played at many different international festivals in many exciting venues, of course in many European countries, in the Far East, in the Middle East, in Africa, in the United States.
Wow.
Yes.
All over the world, really.
Yes, we can definitely say that. And apart from performing, I was also giving master classes, and that gave me a big pleasure as well, when you could share your experience about music, about piano playing with younger generations and piano students.
Apart from the piano, is there any other instrument you like to play, or
in fact, pianists who become serious pianists and concert pianists, they do not learn to play other instruments. This is how it is.
Yes.
when talented musicians, and this is something about my son, and I'm so proud of him, who's a wonderful violinist
Oh, wow.
and pianist, and he taught himself to play guitar very beautifully, and now he's playing guitar and composing lyrics and music.
Oh, fantastic. We
but
should
he's-
have him here as well with you.
It would be a pleasure for him
Yeah,
to come here as well. And he started with the violin, and then he
Did he
moved
get
to
Did he get
play
training for all the other instruments, or is that something
piano
that
and
he's
violin,
just...
yes,
Yes.
absolutely. But guitar, he taught himself. Instruments like piano and violin and a number of other instruments, string and wind instruments, you have to have a proper training in order to perform in classical, virtuoso classical style. You need proper training, you need a good system, where of course with many other instruments you can, being talented and having this talent inside you, musical hearing and talent, you can teach yourself and develop this on some level.
So who are you inspired by in the world of music?
Well, probably my strongest inspiration, and of course being Russian and having this Russian cultural heritage, was the late maestro Mstislav Rostropovich, who was one of the most important and amazing musicians of the 20th century, originally born in Russia, but then becoming the man of the world because he immigrated with his wife later in life to United States, and then he was recognized as one of the most amazing musician, cellist and conductors. He was performing and conducting a lot in London, but really around the world. He had an incredible musical talent and energy, and he was a legend and inspiration for many musicians of my generation, and I was not an exception. He was certainly my musical guru, and can you imagine when finally I was lucky enough to meet him. It was at the musical festival in Germany where I was performing, and he was a conductor in residence of the orchestra which was performing at the same festival, and I was asked to play for him. I met him, and
Oh, wow.
that was a very, very big, very important moment of my life. And in fact, the reason I moved to London, where I'm based, it was because of him, because he has suggested that London would be a very good place for young, ambitious, active musician like myself.
Yes. Okay, amazing. So music is something, of course, that people can train in, they can learn. But do you have to be gifted on top of it?
Definitely, if you
That helps, right?
if you have to, if you want to become a performing artist, a musician,
Yeah.
and perform on stages in front of audiences, you have to have something special apart from being
Taught.
taught. You have something to say. You have to have musical energy. You have to have some musical message to pass during your performance, definitely.
Okay, that's interesting, because I always wondered, because I mean it's something that you can learn, but it has to also come from within you. You have to be musical.
Absolutely.
To be able to perform and to be able to sort of speak to the world in that language.
Definitely, definitely. You have to, and confirming that,
Yeah,
and speaking about myself and about my performances, I'm confirming that I had to have this something special. But
Yes, because you're communicating through your music.
you have to have this ability to communicate with the audience, definitely.
Oh, fantastic. So I'm going to move on to your events. You organize events as well. Tell me a little bit about that. What are these events about?
Yes, well, actually organizing events became my interest and passion many years ago. When I was still very actively performing as a concert pianist. And in fact, my first experience as an event organizer happened at the time when I was studying at the St. Petersburg Conservatory. And since 1997, I became a really serious organizer of cultural events.
Okay.
And it's something which I had really interest, passion, and certain vision for. And since then, of course, I never stopped. In 1997, I've organized my first big festival at the South Bank Centre in London.
Right.
It was a few years after I arrived in London and accomplished my postgraduate course at the Royal College of Music. And I was ambitious enough to organize a 2 weeks long festival at the South Bank Centre, which
Wow.
was dedicated to the culture, music from Russia and former Soviet Union.
Okay.
Obviously, area which was close to my heart,
Yes.
because I come from this
You're
part
from
of the
Russia,
world.
yes.
And after that festival, very shortly after that, my company Ensemble Productions was created. And now we have a long portfolio with over 20 years of experience organizing many different kind of cultural events,
So
performing
when you say
arts.
cultural, is it specifically for Russian culture or
Not
just
at all.
internationally?
Internationally, absolutely internationally. Concerts and shows representing culture of so many different countries.
And mainly these events are music-based, or is it?
Music and dance and contemporary dance and ballet,
Right.
and of course different styles of music, from classical to world music and jazz, pop and rock,
Right.
with no limits, no restrictions. Even I'm trained as a concert classical pianist, but I have realized that in my activities as an impresario, as organizer of cultural events, I could not and I did not want to stick only to classical music.
No.
And in fact, activities expanded into so many different directions. Events been organized, of course, in London, in the UK, in other European countries, in the Middle East, in the United Arab Emirates, and in the Far East, in China, in Korea, in Hong Kong, in the United States. I've been advising governments on cultural programs. I was putting programs together for various governments and their governmental festivals at different times, and at the same time creating own events.
Yeah. Okay. So you just mentioned that you were trained as a classical instrument player. Does the piano, is it still used in contemporary, like modern today's music? Is it used quite a lot as an instrument?
Very much. Piano is one of the most used and popular instruments in many different styles, absolutely. In contemporary classical,
Yep.
in contemporary electronic, you get pianos amplified, and of course sometimes piano is replaced with keyboards, as we know.
Yes, keyboards,
and
yes,
electrical pianos,
Yes,
which is
yes.
quite close to the piano.
Yeah.
Has some special, more contemporary effects, but definitely
But
piano.
the base of it is the same thing. They're
Of
all a
course.
form of piano, whether it's
Absolutely.
a keyboard or
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely.
Okay.
Piano is definitely a very, very popular and very much in use instrument these days.
Okay, lovely. We're just going to take a small break, so we'll be right back. Please don't go away. See you very, very shortly. Welcome back, and you're watching The Tonight Show, and I have Olga Balakits with me today. Olga, welcome back. So we were talking about your event organizing as before we went onto the break. You also did an event for a group of Pakistani singers, and I think you had Jay Sean, you had Imran
Yes.
Khan, Ali Zafar, Hardcore. Like, these are big names. And sort of some of them are British Asians, some of them are from Pakistan. So, what was that event about? Was it just something that you put together?
Well, I'm so proud to be able to work with so many different cultures, so many wonderful artists from
yeah.
different countries, and of course when I start doing something about a particular culture, I rely on help and cooperation with my colleagues. And on that occasion, that was a fantastic project we did with a wonderful organizer, promoter, a friend of mine, Faisal Shaukat. And yes, it was for some productions for my company privilege to be part of this wonderful event. We had absolutely ecstatic audiences. And
I mean, these are really popular artists, so I can imagine that you had a massive turnout.
Absolutely, it was a very, very special night, and I felt extremely excited and very special about being part of the culture about which I didn't know enough by that time. It was very, very enjoyable. And this is the beauty of what I'm doing when I'm able not only to work with the Russian artists, about whom I know really quite a lot, as you can imagine, but to go very, very deeply into cultures of other countries like Pakistan, India, China. I've done a lot with the Chinese and artists from Hong Kong.
Okay.
I was responsible for bringing the China National Symphony Orchestra on their first UK tour. Then we had fantastic artists from Hong Kong, orchestras and individual artists. That was also a very, very interesting experience for me. They were performing not only in London, but in Helsinki, in Prague, in Moscow, in St. Petersburg. In fact, we've done quite a lot representing Chinese culture around the world. And of course, Russia and countries like Georgia, Ukraine and Azerbaijan. Of course, they've been for a long time part of the same country, and for a long time not anymore. And they have individual, very, very rich cultures.
Yes, of course. It must be quite challenging, though, to create that kind of the event, and then actually to get the audience within UK of that particular country together to come.
Yes, and especially not every community has a very strong following, so you have to find a way of presenting the culture of this particular country in such a way that it will be appealing to the international audience, British and international audiences in London, in the UK. And this is what me and my team we are doing.
So that's just putting the multicultural thing to it. That's brilliant. Okay, so you're also the CEO of Creative Women. I really want to know about Creative Women. What is it about?
I know the title probably sounds mysterious and very, very promising. Creative Women is an international platform which was created 4 years ago as a result of me being awarded and inspired by a particular award which was given to me for my achievements for a number of philanthropical events I've been organizing. And this award was given to me not only as a person who achieved something, organized something, but also as a woman achiever.
Right.
And I was very touched by this award.
Of course.
It was actually in Cyprus, and it was a Cyprus Woman of the Year, Business Woman of the Year award initiated by a very, very special lady who I will always appreciate everything what she's done for many ladies and to myself, Janice Ruffle. And I was really inspired by this award, and I felt I had to now to do something for women. I have to organize
reach out to other women to celebrate them as well.
An event which will be dedicated to women. It took me some time to understand how I will do this, what is going to be, what the title is going to be, what the format is going to be. And I ended up with the title Creative Women. Because creativity in today's life is probably the most important power and answer to the success we want to achieve in any area of our activities. So this is how the title Creative Women was born. And sometimes ladies could get confused and they think it is only about ladies who are in creative industries, but it's not at all. Creative Women platform is for ladies with
all across the board.
all
for
across the board,
everybody,
absolutely.
Yeah.
They can be journalists, they can be politicians, they can be business ladies, entrepreneurs, and lawyers. We don't have any borders,
profession, really,
but
yeah.
any profession really. But it is about a different approach to life,
Yeah.
to your profession, and to the input you want to make actually in what you're doing, and to people around you, and maybe even to the world. Creativity, and this strong message we are trying to promote.
Yeah.
It's been already 4 years since the platform was born. We have different events with one main conference during the year. And from this season, we are planning to expand to new countries, to new formats, to new territories.
Right.
And I think from this season, our activities will be even much more exciting. And I'm very, very proud that we've been growing so well and getting interest from so many sides and from some absolutely wonderful speakers who come to our main conference.
It gives a platform for other women to share their stories and their achievements. Is that
Definitely. They share their experience, the story of success. They teach, they give master classes, they give workshops.
It inspires other women. Yeah?
Exactly, and the program of our main conference is very, very diverse. We have panels, we have individual speakers. In the last few years, in the last 2 years, we had nearly 40 speakers and panelists.
Right.
Where in the first year we had just under 20, so you can see how much we've grown, and we year by year obviously will be growing more and more, and especially with the announcement of this season's new program.
Okay, that's amazing. So it's obviously a diverse community. You have people from all across different cultures.
Absolutely. All the European countries, and India and Pakistan, and United States and Central America, and China, Korea, Middle East, of course.
That's very impressive. Yeah.
Absolutely. I can't yet say that we had a speaker from every single country in the world, but the geography is expanding and is becoming quite impressive.
Amazing. That's really good. I'm glad to hear that, because there has to be a platform, and for somebody like yourself to come up with the idea and actually present the platform is, so well done to you. That's
Thank you
really
very
good.
much.
Yeah.
This is a project which is very dear to my heart, and of course, female conferences, female platforms becoming more and more successful and popular in different countries, and I congratulate all my colleagues and women who I even don't know, but I know of their events. I think they're all doing a wonderful job talking about importance of women, our achievements, our successes, us overcoming different kind of problems, whether they're on personal level or on professional level.
Why did you particularly do this for women? Why was it not creative people? And why creative women?
Well, as I said, I was really, really inspired by this award given to me as a woman
As a
achiever,
woman,
and
yeah.
that was
And that,
my response.
Yeah.
But then, as we can see,
So
at the
you
moment,
want to keep it to that sort of.
yes,
enclose it to
I
just
would
women.
very much like to keep it as a creative women, but of course our conferences, our events certainly opened to men. This platform is certainly not a feminist platform,
No.
and every time when I am asked about this, I actually emphasize the importance of men in the life of women.
Yeah.
And of course, it is really, really fantastic when women can have the total support of their husbands, of their partners in what they're doing. This is very, very important. Unfortunately, it doesn't happen to every woman, to every lady, but it's really fantastic when a woman has this support and understanding from her man.
Yes, and if that man is then going to help her go forward, which again, would be an achievement. Okay, so other than all of this that you do, your events and your music and Creative Women, what else do you like doing, or how do you have any time left to do anything else?
Exactly. Unfortunately, I do not.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Because events organizing is one of the most time-consuming things you can do. And as you can imagine, I'm working on not only one or two projects at the same time. I'm working on 10, 15 of different sizes in different countries in the world, and I'm working them at the same time. I'm also very, very excited to work on a new project which is called Teatrum Vitae, which is going to be a platform for multifaceted shows with performing arts, but actually it will be a mixture and fusion of the performing and visual arts. It was initiated by Rafael Brzezinski. We are partners in this project, and we believe that this project is going to open new horizons for many people with a creative approach to life. It might even come with some very, very strong and necessary messages to the world today, when we are facing so many confrontations. Yes. And we are losing direction, belief in peacemaking. And this project will be aiming certainly to remind everyone about most important values. And I'm so happy to announce that the first show of Teatrum Vitae is going to be a show called The Path of Aphrodite, the goddess of beauty and love, Aphrodite Venus. And here we are tonight.
Yes, on Venus TV.
On Venus TV. Yeah. It gives me a particular pleasure to make this announcement.
Oh, lovely. So are these sort of more like theatre plays that's going to be taking place?
They will be multifaceted shows which will be staged in open landmark places in different countries.
Okay.
And in fact, this particular show, the first show dedicated to Aphrodite, is planned to be in Petra Toromeo in Cyprus, where, according to the legend, she was born. She came out of the waters in the Mediterranean Sea. And the story of Aphrodite will be shown and told exactly in the place where she was born,
yes.
making this even more special. And then in the future, the show will be taken already to different venues around the world.
Of course, so it'll start off in Cyprus, and then then taken to other places, because that's where it originated from.
Exactly,
that's
exactly. This is the idea.
Yeah.
But otherwise, about free time, yes, you were right. There's not very much free time, and of course, I try to be a very good mother to my very talented musical son John.
Yes.
And I love traveling, but of course my job and my profession, events organizing, takes me to different destinations anyway.
Yes, of course, must be fun. Okay, we're just going to go on just one little break. So just one more break and we'll be back very, very shortly. Stay tuned, because we've got a lot of things. We are definitely going to the TikTok round next. Welcome back to The Tonight Show, and we have Olga with us, and we're going to head straight to the TikTok round. Okay, Olga, this is going to be your TikTok round, where I'm going to ask you a few questions.
Probably the most difficult questions.
No, they're not difficult. They're just away from what you actually do. So these are random questions, just to get to know the real Olga Balakits as a person. So, okay, so the first one. Do you prefer texting or talking?
How interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I do prefer talking, but of course in our very busy life today, sometimes, of course, I find, like most of people, easier to send a short message and to get an answer.
Yeah.
And I find it sad that this becomes kind of necessity for me and for most of my friends.
Yeah.
Because life is so fast now.
You can't just pick up the phone and call people. They might not pick up, or they might not answer.
Exactly. So I personally would prefer to talk, but it's becoming very unpractical. Sending a quick message is easier.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you, because I'm like that. I prefer to talk, but then, you can't always these days. Okay, what's your favorite junk food? Do you eat junk food at all?
I try not to.
Yeah.
I try not to, but I very, very occasionally I might find myself in McDonald's.
Yeah.
But it happens very seldom.
Very seldom. Okay.
Very.
Okay, brilliant. Yeah, I know. I love it too. Okay, your favorite color?
My favorite color? Different kind of green.
Different kind of green. Okay.
And a mixture between green and blue.
Okay. So like a peacock
Kind
color.
of, yes. I like this color very much.
Oh, very nice. Okay. Do you wear a lot of it?
Occasionally, but I have to change colors because of obviously so many different events and appearances and being photographed. I have to always keep changing outfits and colors.
Yeah, that's the best part of it, isn't it? Changing your outfit. Okay. What do you think is your most attractive feature?
Feature of
Your facial feature. What do you think is most attractive about you? Or what do people tell you?
This is the hardest question ever, which I probably will not even answer.
What do people tell you? Do you have a nice smile? You have nice eyes? I can tell you lots. But
Well, I think probably you should tell me, not myself. Naturally, I'm a very modest person, and it's always very difficult for me to judge myself, and especially to be complimentary about myself.
Well, you have a beautiful smile, Olga.
But a few people said that. Thank you very much.
There you go. So a few people have already told you that. So that's your most attractive feature, I guess. What is the first thing you notice when you meet someone for the first time? So. Okay,
about this person when
about
I meet
a person when you meet them for the first time, what is it that you notice?
Well, I try to establish an eye contact and probably to understand how sincere they are and whether I can relate to them.
Yeah.
I think probably this for me this is the
try to catch the vibe from that person.
Yes.
If it's positive or if
Exactly.
it's something that
sincerity,
you connect with. Yeah.
And the ability really to communicate. That would be my answer.
Okay, lovely. What is your favorite childhood memory?
Oh, there are quite a few actually.
Yeah?
They go
Share
back
them with us. Share them with
a long
us.
time ago, obviously to my years in Russia when I was a child. I was born in a very special place, which was in the south of Russia, very close to lotus plantation. And as we know, lotus plantations are very rare. There are very few in the world.
Yes.
And I was even told by my parents when I was very young that I was born in the lotus. I was found in the lotus.
Oh.
And of course, from a very young age, I was taken to this lotus plantation, and I felt very, very connected to this beautiful and special flower.
Because you were born in the lotus.
Exactly, because I knew that I'm a lotus girl. I came out of the lotus.
It's better than being told that you came out the dustbin.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I had this very beautiful memory of seeing lotuses and being next to lotus flower. That was definitely one of my special memories. Certainly one of my first performances as a pianist on the stage.
Yes.
Some very strong and very sharp memories.
Oh, that's lovely. That's a very, very sweet memory, actually. Okay, so if there was a movie about your life, what would the title be?
I like your questions, and they're very challenging and very, very unusual. Gosh, this...
What do you think a movie about your life should be called?
Well, certainly something with adventure, because I have lots of adventures in my life, and things I'm doing.
Adventures of Olga. Balaki.
Let's-
Yeah.
Let's try for that.
Okay. Your favorite author? Because I know you like reading, so.
I love very much Shakespeare and Pushkin, and of course, many people found lots of similarities between them, and to me, they are really the best because they say so much about real life, about all the aspects of life
Yes.
and our feelings. And emotions you get from reading Pushkin and Shakespeare are so deep and so strong, and they're both very, very universal. If when we talk about another very important Russian author, Fyodor Dostoevsky, it is very much about drama, about the depth. It's going in one particular direction, but Pushkin and Shakespeare, it is really about all the spectrum of feelings we as human beings are going through in our lives.
Yeah, lovely. Okay, and your favorite actor?
I have an answer to that
You do?
question. I do.
Let's hear it.
My favorite actor is Ray Fiennes,
Okay.
and I'm privileged enough to met Rafe on a few occasions. I'm privileged enough to have been working and promoting
Lucky you.
one of his films where he was acting in Russian, because Rafe has a very, very deep interest in Russian culture, and he loves acting in Russian, and he produced few of films where he was acting and speaking in Russian. I find him a very, very interesting actor who shown different sides. My first film with him I've seen was Onegin, who's not even known to white audiences.
Yes.
It was based on Pushkin, of course, a poem, Onegin, and I was absolutely taken by that. And then, of course, I've started watching many other films, blockbusters, and I loved his depth and sincerity and sensitivity. But then, of course, later he moved, making so many. Playing so many different roles, and even some very brutal.
Yeah, well, that's an actor for you, because you know.
Exactly, but to me, he's the person who I know, who I admire, and I definitely
more than the performer.
Both,
yeah.
And I think the reason I'm naming him as my favorite actor, because I was privileged enough to see so many different films, but also meet him in real life, and then later to see him as a producer and as a director of a film as well.
Okay, lovely. What song do you find yourself humming these days? Your favorite song these days?
Well,
we'd like to hear it, Olga.
Gosh,
we'd like to
really,
hear it, yes.
Don't forget, I'm a pianist, I'm not a singer.
That's okay. Everyone's got a singer in them.
Well,
there's a hidden singer somewhere.
You will judge in a moment. I never thought I can.
We are
I can
not
sing.
going to judge. We just love music.
Strangely enough, the song, which is an old Russian song of the Soviet times, sung by Soviet singer legend Alla Pugacheva, somehow lately was following me.
Yeah.
Because the meaning is beautiful and the tune is very simple. So if you don't mind, I might try to imitate.
Please
and
do.
then I could even tell
We'd
you
love
the
for you.
meaning and the reason why really I like it.
Yeah, go for it, please.
I'll try.
Love to
Now
hear
I'm
it.
really nervous.
Don't be nervous. We'd love to hear it. So there
Okay.
you go, in your camera, and sing to us.
Миллион, миллион, миллион алых роз. Из окна, из окна, из окна видишь ты. Кто влюблен, кто влюблен, кто влюблен им всерьез. Свою жизнь для тебя превратит в цветы. I will stop here.
I really enjoyed that.
So the meaning
Yeah.
is it's about million roses, which you can see from your window, but in fact it's a woman who was loved by someone who decided to make the whole square in front of her window covered with millions of roses.
Oh, wow.
And I think it's very beautiful.
It's beautiful, very romantic.
Very romantic.
Very romantic. Lovely. Thank you for sharing that with us. Olga, describe yourself in 3 words. How would you describe yourself?
Loyalty, determination, and being romantic.
And being romantic, yeah? You're
Yes.
romantic.
Yes, I am.
That's nice. Well, you're musical, so I guess that kind of makes you romantic as well, doesn't it? Okay, and if you could be anywhere in the world right now, where would you be?
I probably would like to be in Cyprus,
Yeah?
close to the place where Aphrodite was born.
Oh, nice.
The place which means a lot to me. It has a very, very strong energy and spirituality.
That's wonderful. Well, you did very well in that TikTok round. We learned quite a lot about you. And we're actually come to the end of the show now. So
Sadly.
I would like to thank you so much, Olga, for coming on the show. And it's been an absolute pleasure having you here.
Oh, it was
Thank
my
you.
pleasure to be here and talking to you. And I can even say that I've discovered certain things about myself, which I didn't know.
There you go. So that's what it's all about. And thank you for singing for us. Okay. Well, we'd like to say goodbye to you for today. Until next week, when I'll see you again next Tuesday on The Tonight Show. Take very good care of yourselves. Take care. Bye-bye.